Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and Time Spiral Remastered is coming out pretty shortly here, so we started spoiler season just like 1 or 2 days ago. And basically this is like, oh look, some stuff from the Time Spiral block, cool, let's draft it, mixed with basically Eternal Masters. So the new time-shifted purple rarity is going to be 121 brand new cards that were not from the so-called bonus sheet the first time around. And Wizards has already stated that it's basically a patternless, complete free-for-all for what they're going to put on it. So, like I said, Eternal Masters. So since that's where all the money is, I figured let's start with that today. So we know 29 of the cards as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, which is only about a quarter of them, but boy, there's some tasty ones on here. So let's start with Restoration Angel. And you can see it will have the time-shifted purple rarity. I thought they said they weren't going to do that, but I guess they are, and I guess one other thing they're going to do is stick it in that god-awful old frame. My god, did cards look bad back then. Now, you got two camps on this, and the way I understand it, it's right around 50-50. 50% of people are like, oh, ew, the old frame? That's a giant step backwards, and other people that are like, yeah, nostalgia. That's the way the cards should look, because that's how they looked when I started playing. Which team am I on? I'm on the team that started playing Magic in 2013. Take a guess. This is ugly. The old card frame is complete ass. That white text on a white background looks terrible. The graphics are terrible. The definition is terrible. Everything's terrible about this. The font was terrible. The mana symbol looks terrible. Everything about this is terrible. Almost every time that they changed the frame, it was an improvement. This looks awful. Look at the set symbol. It's touching the inlaid border. This is complete and utter garbage. It should be illegal to do a card dirty like this. So this, unfortunately, was only about $1 card, but as of the reprint announcement, the pre-orders are going for 49 cents. So next up, Thraben Inspector. Thraben, who knows, they never released a pronunciation guide. I believe that's a Shadows card, just like I believe it's not worth anything. Next up, we got Banishing Light. I mean, can't beat that. That's almost guaranteed in there for draft purposes, but, you know, it's a good card. I like it. Cool art, too. By the way, did you notice that all these cards say copyright 2020 on the bottom? I think Wizards had already said that like this set was delayed. It was supposed to come out earlier, but like production delays or a shift in the schedule, they flip-flop something. I don't know. I thought they like already confirmed that or said something about it. But yeah, that copyright date would strongly suggest that they intended for this to come out a year ago. Next up, Johnny's Pride made his back. Classic card there. Not worth much, but you know, it's a power card. Next up, we got a Degenerate Deck Foiler, Containment Priest, classic. Only a 25-cent card because it's been printed to death, but very good. Next up, Intangible Virtue, kind of a neat card here. It's a Lord's card, I guess you would say, but for all tokens instead of being based on a subtype. Unfortunately, 25-cent card. I mean, I think it should be worth more, but it has been printed a bit. Next up, SRAM, Senior Edificer. Boy, are these cards almost impossible to read. Believe it or not, this card, even though it was from Aether Revolt, is actually about $1 to $2. Next up, one of my personal favorites. This is one of my sideboard options in my modern deck. This is Silence. It just straight up says your opponents cannot cast spells this turn. So it doesn't remove something on the stack, even though this is instant speed. But if you do this during their upkeep, there you go. And I would always take this and put it on that spell copier staff. Yeah, then they can't cast spells, you know, any turn for the rest of the game, or at least on their own turn. Now, even though this has been printed in quite a few core sets, it's currently sitting at about $4, so this will probably bring it right down to about $2. In fact, yeah, it looks like there's a pre-order offer for it on Card Kingdom for $1.99, but it says out of stock, and then it says ships March 19th, so they're setting the price for a pre-order without actually taking it as a pre-order for that price, which seems a little potentially sketchy and manipulative. Next up, we got an old Dark Ascension card, Lingering Souls, only 25 cents, but it's a good card. I mean, 2 flying tokens plus flashback, not bad. Next up, Palace Jailer from all the way back in Conspiracy Take the Crown, and he's currently pre-ordering at $1.50, so I mean, we're seeing some solid cards, I guess, but we haven't seen a single one above $2 yet, I think, so that's not good. Next up, boy, I had to zoom in just to read this. What the hell were they thinking back then? It's Stonehorn Dignitary, only been printed once, but that doesn't mean it's not 35 cents. Next up, Flicker Wisp. Interesting Flicker card, but it's not worth anything because it was, of course, put in Commander Legends, Modern Masters 1, Modern Masters 3, and, of course, Double Masters. You reprinted that many times, boy. Next up, we got a bit of an oddity here. It's Mystic Confluence, pretty good card. Here's the thing, though. The Battle Bond version of it is $2.99, and Card Kingdom is claiming that the Time Spiral Remastered version of it is $3.99. That does not make a lot of sense. Next up, I do believe we've got a winner for the highest value so far. It is Baral, Chief of Compliance, which, strangely enough, again, is $6.49 from Aether Revolt, but $7.99 from Time Spiral, for some reason. I mean, he's a damn good card. People play him in Commander. In fact, he was actually banned from Brawl. So good money there. Next up, Trinket Mage. Pretty worthless, but interesting card. Next up, Disdainful Stroke. Obviously just there for draft purposes. Then we got Treasure Cruise, which really still isn't worth all that much money unless you get it in foil. This is the first time it was printed in that god-awful frame, so for some reason they're taking pre-orders at $1. They must really be putting a nostalgia tax on that, because Commander Anthology Volume 2 version is only 35 cents. I think they're overestimating how people think about these really, really ugly, in-your-face, retina-singeing, high-saturation frames here. Next up, we got Master of the Pearl Trident from Core Set 2013, believe it or not. And this one's about a solid $4. So no giant jackpot cards so far, although we do know what a couple of them are because they were already spoiled. But if I pulled this, I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed. Next up, we've got Ponder, which is banned from basically everything. Strangely, still about $1 card. Next up, very interesting famous card here. It's True Name Nemesis. Now, this was in Battle Bond, and at the time, it was actually pretty good money. I think it's about $11 from that version. But this one, it looks like they're pre-ordering at $6, so they don't have a lot of hope in this staying terribly, I don't know, hard to find. Next up, another famous Commander card, a Sigil of the Empty Throne. Unfortunately, 50 cents on a good day. Next up, some absolutely degenerate trash, Laboratory Maniac. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game. So, graveyard your entire library or exile it or something, and then ta-da, you win. Just utter Thassa's, Oracle garbage. Same crap, different day. So, that's pre-ordering at about $2.50 because some just degenerate douchebags play this garbage. Next up, we got the former money card Remand. It is unfortunately only about $3 right now. Next up, we got about the 100,000th reprint of Muldrifter. I heard that one of the staff members is obsessed with this card. That's why I keep seeing it in different sets. Cannot confirm, though. And after that, we've got Ninja of the Deep Hours with that god-awful H. I was watching for it, and there it is. They did bring back the allegedly capital H, which to this day, the staff at Wizard of the Coast still tries to defend. Amazing. Still a 50-cent card, by the way, but next we got Paradoxical Outcome. Ooh. Thought it was a pretty hot card. Must have just been worth a little bit on a buy list at some point or something for me to remember it, but yeah, currently 50 cents. Next up, the 35-cent Merfolk, Talrand Sky Summoner, so how exciting. And then we've got Fibblethip the Lost. He's worth 25 cents in reality and $1 million in our hearts. Next up, Repeal, because we don't already have 37 different ways to bounce anything back to hand for 2 mana already. Although this is the only one that says draw a card that I remember. Still 25 whole cents. So that concludes just the purple rarity cards off the, quote, bonus sheet as they call it. Once again, a collection of 121 cards that will be 1 per pack, 3 per pack inside of the collector's booster. And so far, not a ton of value. I'm actually kind of surprised because I thought they'd, pack a lot of $10 bills in this slot, but not so far. Though we have only seen, for some reason, white and blue. I guess that's what they decided to show off. So I can't wait to see what the rest of the time-shifted cards are, especially black, because there's a lot of really, really crazy classic black cards that they could put in. And I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like they don't reprint black enough. Like, we waited forever for Damnation. We waited forever for Phyrexian Obliterator. Even Urborg's Tomb took forever for them to reprint that. And there's quite a few that haven't been addressed yet. So I'm looking forward to that one the most. Red, I could care less. Usually that's the least amount of value in these reprint sets, or at least reprint slot. So hey, thanks for watching so far. I am definitely going to cover probably, I don't know, the rares or the money cards or something from, the regular Time Spiral block. There's a lot of tasty cards in that whole block, remember. I mean, we've already got, for sure, Ancestral Vision and Pact of Negation on the list. So pretty nice. Just don't get Ancestral Vision confused with the probably reserved list, I would assume. Real version of the spell that it's knocked off of, which is Ancestral Recall. And I'd like to say, oh yeah, there's some money. That's a $5 card. So hopefully we'll start seeing some money here because I'm not seeing it in the purple slot. We'll see. I heard a rumor that this is going to be a fairly expensive per pack product, like close to but not quite at $9.99 a pack. And that's not good if they basically do like a Masters set in the purple rarity slot and then fail to put anything valuable in it. But if there's good enough rares and mythics from the just main actual Time Spiral original block, then hey, but I don't think there's enough of them. So we'll see how this shapes out. Honestly, with what we've seen so far in 2 days, it doesn't look very good. But stay tuned for more spoilers, prices, and my assessment on all of it, and I will see you guys next video.